1 year had passed since the Great Revelation. 1 year since Prince Minho and Princess Jiwoo were sent to prison. 1 year since the truth had been exposed. And in that year, everything had changed. Yuna stood in front of a mirror in the royal palace. But it was not her old small room at the edge of the grounds. It was the grand chamber of the crown heir. She wore a beautiful white dress, and for the first time, it was new. Made just for her. Behind her, Taiho adjusted his own clothes. He now wore the formal uniform of a Vel noble, made specially for his human body. It was dark blue with gold decorations. "Are you nervous?" Taiho asked. Yuna smiled. "A little. I never imagined this day would come." After Minho and Jiwoo's imprisonment, everything had shifted. Prince Junho, the third brother, had refused the position of crown heir. He said he did not want power after seeing what it did to his siblings. That left only one option. Emperor Dowan had named Yuna as his new heir. The entire empire had been shocked. A princess they once called broken was now going to be their future ruler. Some nobles protested. Some demanded she be removed. But the emperor stood firm. "I made mistakes with Yuna," he told the court. "I will not make them again. She has shown more strength than any of my other children. She survived what would have destroyed others. She will be a great empress." But the biggest shock was yet to come. 6 months ago, Taiho had worked with the empire's best scientists to find a cure for Yuna's condition. The poison had done damage, but it was not permanent. With advanced Vel medicine and human determination, they found a solution. Yuna was cured. The news spread across the galaxy. The infertile princess was infertile no more. Some said it was a miracle. Some said it was impossible. But everyone knew the truth. It was the work of a human who refused to give up. Today was the coronation ceremony. Yuna would officially be named Crown Princess of the Vel Empire. It was the most important day of her life. The ceremony was held in the Grand Hall, the same hall where she had been humiliated a year ago. The same hall where nobles had laughed at her marriage to a human. But today, those same nobles stood in silence, watching with respect. Emperor Dowan sat on his throne. He looked older now, weaker. His health had been failing in recent months. Everyone knew he did not have much time left. Yuna walked through the hall with Taiho by her side. Every step felt heavy, but not from fear. From purpose. She was no longer the broken princess who hid in shadows. She was someone new. When she reached the throne, she knelt before her father. "Princess Yuna," the emperor said in his old voice, "you have overcome trials that would break most people. You have shown strength, wisdom, and courage. Do you accept the responsibility of leading the Vel Empire?" "I accept," Yuna said clearly. The emperor placed a golden crown on her head. "Then rise, Crown Princess Yuna, future empress of the Vel Empire." Yuna stood and faced the crowd. The hall was silent. Then, slowly, the nobles began to bow. One by one, they lowered their heads to her. People who had mocked her. People who had thrown food at her wedding. People who had called her worthless. Now they bowed. But Yuna did not feel pride. She felt sad for the time she had lost. She felt sad for the pain she had suffered. And she promised herself that she would make sure no one in her empire would ever feel that way again. When the ceremony was over, there was a grand celebration. Music played. Food was served. Nobles talked and laughed. But Yuna did not feel like celebrating with them. She went to a quiet balcony with Taiho. They looked out at the stars together. 1 year ago, Yuna said softly, "I wanted to die. I saw no reason to live. I was nothing." Taiho put his arm around her. "And now? Now I have everything. A purpose. A future. And you." She turned to look at him. "None of this would have happened without you. You came into my life as an insult, and you became my greatest blessing. Taiho smiled. I told you on our first night together. Everyone who has been underestimated has the power to surprise the world. You surprised them, Yuna, not me. I just helped you see what was already inside you. Do not be modest, Yuna laughed. You fought assassins. You outsmarted my brother. You found a cure for something doctors said was impossible. You are extraordinary. I am human, Taiho said simply. We do extraordinary things when we have to. Behind them, the celebration continued. But they stayed on the balcony, enjoying the quiet moment together. What happens now? Yuna asked. Now we build the future. You will be empress someday. You will change this empire. Make it better. Make it fair. And I will be beside you every step of the way. The nobles still do not fully accept you. They respect you, but some still think humans are beneath them. Let them think that, Taiho said. Opinions change slowly, but they do change. When they see what we accomplish together, they will understand. And if they do not understand, it does not matter. We know the truth. What truth? Taiho looked at her with love in his eyes. That worth is not decided by birth or blood or species. Worth is decided by actions, by choices, by the courage to keep going when everything says you should stop. Yuna leaned into him. When did you become so wise? I learned from watching you. 3 months later, Emperor Dohan passed away peacefully in his sleep. The empire mourned, but they also looked forward. They looked to their new leader. Empress Yuna took the throne. Her coronation as Empress was the largest event in the empire's history. Representatives from every planet attended. Even Earth sent a delegation. They stood with pride as they watched a human prince consort stand beside the most powerful woman in the galaxy. When Yuna gave her first speech as Empress, she spoke about change, about fairness, about judging people by their actions, not their birth. I was called broken, she said to the crowd. I was called worthless. I was poisoned by my own family. But I am here today because someone believed in me when no one else did. A human, a species that many of you look down upon. She gestured to Taiho, who stood beside the throne. This man showed me that strength is not about size or power. It is about spirit. It is about never giving up. Humans may be small. They may live short lives, but they have hearts bigger than galaxies. The crowd was silent, listening. I will build an empire where everyone is judged fairly, where birth does not determine worth, where even the smallest person can achieve great things. This is my promise to you. When she finished, the crowd did something unexpected. They cheered. Not polite applause, but real, genuine cheering. The sound filled the hall like thunder. That night, Yuna and Taiho sat alone in their chambers. They were exhausted but happy. They tried to humiliate me with a human, Yuna said, laughing at the irony. And now that human is my greatest strength. Taiho pulled her close. And you are mine. What do you think the future holds for us? Taiho thought for a moment. Challenges, obstacles, people who will try to tear us down. But also victories, progress, change, and most importantly, each other. Yuna smiled. That sounds like a good future. It will be, because we will build it together. Outside the window, the stars shone brightly. The universe was vast and full of unknowns. But Yuna was not afraid anymore. She had faced her demons and won. She had found love in the most unexpected place. She had risen from nothing to become everything. And beside her stood a human who had taught her the most important lesson of all. That no matter what anyone says, no matter what obstacles stand in your way, you have the power to shock the world. You just have to believe in yourself. The nobles of the Vel Empire would tell stories about Empress Yuna for generations. How she was called broken, but became unbreakable. How she was given a human as an insult, but found in him a partner. How she transformed an empire and changed history. But the best part of the story, the part that everyone loved most, was this. They tried to humiliate her with a human. And she shocked them all. The end. 3 days passed in the dark prison cell. Yuna and Taiho were given little food and water. The guards came sometimes to mock them, but mostly they were left alone in the darkness. Prince Minho visited once. He stood outside the cell with a proud smile on his face. "Look at you," Minho said to Yuna. "The broken princess and her pet human. This is where you belong. In the dirt. In the dark." Yuna did not respond. She had learned from Taiho to stay calm, to not give enemies the reaction they wanted. Minho turned to Taiho. "You caused a lot of trouble, human. I have to admit, I underestimated you. You are smarter than most of your kind. But smart does not matter when you are locked in a cage." Taiho looked at the prince with steady eyes. "You should be careful, Prince Minho. The more you talk, the more you reveal." Minho laughed. "Reveal? There is nothing left to reveal. You found out about the poison? So what? You cannot prove anything. Dr. Sunho has already destroyed all the evidence. It is your word against mine. And who will believe a broken princess and a human over a prince of the Vel Empire?" "Your father might," Taiho said calmly. "If he knew the truth." Minho's smile faded slightly. "My father will never know. In 2 days, you will both be executed for crimes against the Empire. I have already arranged it. You attacked royal guards and broke into restricted areas. The penalty is death." "I see," Taiho said. "You have planned everything well." "I always do," Minho replied. He turned to leave, then stopped. "Oh, and sister? Mother would be so disappointed in you. Her favorite child, dying like an animal. Such a sad ending." When Minho was gone, Yuna started to cry. "He is right. We cannot win. He has destroyed all the evidence. No one will believe us." Taiho was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. "Why are you smiling?" Yuna asked, confused. "Because Minho made a mistake. He told us exactly what we needed to know." "What do you mean?" Taiho leaned closer and whispered. "He said Dr. Sunho destroyed all the evidence. That means Dr. Sunho is still alive. And that means Dr. Sunho can still talk. But the doctor will never speak against Minho. He is too scared. Everyone talks eventually," Taiho said. "You just need the right motivation. And I think I know how to provide it." That night, Taiho put his plan into action. He had been studying the guards for 3 days, watching their patterns and behaviors. He noticed that one guard, a young man named Hyunsu, seemed different from the others. He did not laugh when the other guards mocked them. He looked away when they were cruel. When Hyunsu came to deliver their water, Taiho spoke to him. "You do not enjoy this job," Taiho said quietly. Hyunsu looked surprised. "What? I have been watching you. The other guards like to hurt us. But you do not. Why?" Hyunsu was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "My sister was like Princess Yuna, born different. My family treated her badly. She died young. She died young. I know what it feels like to watch someone suffer for no reason." "Then help us," Taiho said. "Help us, and we can stop more suffering." Hyunsu looked scared. "If I help you, I will be killed. If you do nothing, we will be killed. And Minho will continue to hurt anyone who gets in his way. How many more sisters will die because people were too scared to act?" Hyunsu struggled with himself. Then he reached a decision. "What do you need me to do?" Taiho smiled. "I need you to deliver a message." The next day was the day of the imperial court, when Emperor Dohwan held his monthly gathering. All the nobles were required to attend. All the princes and princesses would be there. It was the perfect stage. That morning, the guards came to take Yuna and Taiho from their cell. They were brought before the court in chains, dirty and weak. The nobles whispered and pointed. Prince Minho stood near the throne, smiling with satisfaction. Emperor Dohan sat on his golden throne, looking bored. What is this? Why are these prisoners here? Minho stepped forward. Father, these criminals broke into restricted areas and attacked your guards. They spread lies about the royal family. I request immediate execution. The emperor waved his hand. Very well. Execute them. Guards moved forward with weapons drawn. Yuna closed her eyes, but then a voice called out from the crowd. Wait! Your Majesty, I have something to say. Everyone turned. Dr. Sunho pushed through the crowd and fell to his knees before the throne. He looked terrified. Minho's face went white. What are you doing here? I ordered you to stay hidden. But Dr. Sunho was not looking at Minho. He was looking at the emperor. Your Majesty, the doctor said, his voice shaking, I have committed terrible crimes. I must confess. The emperor raised an eyebrow. What crimes? Many years ago, I was paid by Prince Minho and Princess Jiwoo to poison Princess Yuna. I put a special poison in her food. This poison destroyed her ability to have children. Her condition is not natural. It was created. The court exploded with noise. Nobles shouted. Guards looked confused. Minho's face twisted with rage. Lies. Minho screamed. This man is lying. He's trying to save his friends. But the emperor held up his hand for silence. His eyes were sharp now, all boredom gone. Doctor, the emperor said coldly, you are making a serious accusation. Do you have proof? Dr. Sunho nodded. Yes, Your Majesty. I have records. Payment records from Prince Minho. Medical records showing what I did. I kept copies hidden because I was scared. I knew someday this might happen. He pulled out a small data device and handed it to a guard, who brought it to the emperor. The emperor looked through the records. His face grew darker and darker with each page he read. Minho, the emperor said finally, is this true? Minho fell to his knees. Father, I can explain. It was for the good of the empire. Yuna was weak. She would have embarrassed us. I was protecting our family's honor. Protecting our honor? The emperor's voice was like thunder. You poisoned your own sister. You tried to murder her. And then you tried to execute her to hide your crime. Princess Jiwoo tried to run, but guards caught her. She screamed and cried, but no one listened. The emperor stood up from his throne. I have made many mistakes as a father. I treated Yuna poorly because I believed she was defective. But she was never defective. She was a victim of her own siblings' jealousy. He walked down from the throne and approached Yuna. For the first time in her life, Yuna saw something in her father's eyes that she had never seen before. Regret. My daughter, the emperor said softly, I am sorry. I failed you. Yuna did not know what to say. She had waited her entire life for her father to see her, to acknowledge her. And now finally he was. I do not know if I can forgive everything, Yuna said honestly, but I am willing to try. The emperor nodded. Then he turned to Taiho. And you, human, you protected my daughter when her own family tried to kill her. You uncovered the truth when everyone else looked away. I was wrong about you. Wrong about your entire species. Taiho bowed respectfully. I did what any husband should do, Your Majesty. I protected my wife. The emperor studied Taiho for a long moment. You are more than you appear, human. Much more. He turned back to the court. Prince Minho and Princess Jiwoo are hereby stripped of their titles. They will be imprisoned for life. Dr. Sunho will be executed for his crimes. Minho screamed and fought as guards dragged him away. This is not over. That human did this. I will have my revenge. But his words meant nothing now. His power was gone. His plans had failed. And as Yuna watched her brother being dragged away, she felt something she had never felt before. Freedom. That night, Yuna and Taiho sat in their small house. But it did not feel small anymore. It felt like home. You planned all of this, Yuna said. You knew Minho would say too much. You knew the guard would help us. You knew Dr. Sunho would confess if pressured. Taiho smiled. I did not plan everything. Some of it was luck. But I learned long ago that when you have nothing, you must use everything. Every word, every weakness, every opportunity. How did you convince Dr. Sunho to confess? The guard, Hyun-soo, delivered my message to him. I told him that if he did not confess, I would make sure everyone knew he was the only one who could prove the poison. Minho would kill him to silence him. His only chance for survival was to confess publicly, where Minho could not touch him. Yuna shook her head in amazement. You are terrifying. I prefer resourceful, Taiho laughed. Yuna took his hand. Thank you. For everything. You saved my life. You gave me the truth. You gave me hope. Taiho squeezed her hand gently. And this is just the beginning. The doctor said your condition was caused by poison. That means there might be a cure. We will find it. I promise. For the first time in her life, Yuna believed in the future. She believed that things could get better. She believed in herself, and she believed in the strange, wonderful human who had changed everything. 3 months had passed since the wedding. Yuna and Taiho had fallen into a comfortable routine. They ate meals together, talked for hours, and slowly became real partners. Yuna found herself looking forward to each new day, something she had never experienced before. But not everyone was happy about this. In the main palace, Prince Minho watched from the shadows. He had expected his sister to suffer. He had expected the human to fail. But instead, they seemed to be thriving. This made him angry. The human is becoming a problem, Minho said to his younger brother, Prince Junho. They sat in Minho's private chamber, drinking expensive wine. Junho nodded. I have heard the servants talking. They say the human treats Yuna with kindness. Some of them admire him? Admire him? Minho slammed his cup on the table. He is a human, a bug. How can anyone admire him? Brother, Junho said carefully, maybe we should do something about this. Before it gets worse. Minho smiled darkly. Yes, I think it is time to remind everyone of their place. That night, Yuna was walking in the palace gardens. She sometimes went there to think, to enjoy a moment of peace. The gardens were beautiful, with strange alien flowers and trees that glowed in the dark. She did not notice the shadows moving behind her. Suddenly, 3 figures jumped out. They wore black masks and carried sharp weapons. Assassins. Yuna screamed and tried to run, but one of them grabbed her arm. Princess Yuna, the assassin hissed. Your life ends tonight. Please, Yuna begged. Please do not hurt me. I have done nothing wrong. Your crime is existing, the assassin replied. You are an embarrassment to the royal family. Your brothers send their regards. Yuna's heart turned cold. Her own brothers had sent killers for her. She closed her eyes, waiting for death. But death did not come. Instead, she heard a loud crack. Then a scream. Then another crack. She opened her eyes and saw Taiho fighting the 3 assassins. He moved like water, fast and smooth. He had no weapon, just his hands and feet. But he used them like deadly tools. One assassin swung a blade at Taiho. Taiho ducked under it and punched the assassin in the throat. The assassin fell, choking. Another assassin attacked from behind. Taiho spun around, grabbed the assassin's arm, and broke it with a quick twist. The assassin screamed and dropped his weapon. The third assassin was smarter. He grabbed Yuna and put a knife to her neck. "Stop, human, or I will kill her." Taiho stopped. His eyes were cold and focused, like a predator watching prey. "Let her go," Taiho said calmly, "and I will let you live." The assassin laughed. "You think you can threaten me? I have the princess. I have the power here." "You have nothing," Taiho replied. "You are already dead. You just do not know it yet." Before the assassin could respond, Taiho moved. It happened so fast that Yuna barely saw it. One moment, Taiho was standing still. The next moment, he was beside the assassin, twisting the knife away from Yuna's neck and driving his elbow into the assassin's face. The assassin fell to the ground, unconscious. Yuna stood frozen, her body shaking. Taiho gently took her hands. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice soft now. Yuna shook her head. "No, I am okay. But how did you do that?" "They were trained killers." Taiho checked the assassins to make sure they were not getting up. "I told you, I was a soldier. Humans have fought wars for thousands of years. We may be weak, but we have learned every way to fight, every way to kill. These assassins were good, but they underestimated me. That was their mistake." Yuna looked at her husband with new eyes. She had always seen him as kind and smart, but now she saw another side of him. A dangerous side. A side that would protect her at any cost. "My brothers sent them," Yuna whispered. "They want me dead." Taiho's jaw tightened. "I know. I recognized the symbol on their masks. It is your brother Minho's personal mark. What do we do? If we tell my father, Minho will deny it. He will say we are lying. Father always believes him." Taiho thought for a moment. "Then we do not tell your father." "Not yet. We gather evidence. We find proof. And when we have enough, we strike." "Strike? Against my own brothers?" "Your brothers tried to murder you," Taiho said firmly. "They stopped being your family the moment they sent those killers. Now they are your enemies. And enemies must be dealt with." Yuna had never thought this way before. She had always accepted her family's cruelty. She had always believed she deserved it. But Taiho was showing her another way. "I am scared," she admitted. "Good," Taiho said. "Fear keeps you sharp. But do not let fear control you. Use it, channel it, turn it into strength." Over the next few weeks, Taiho and Yuna began their investigation. They searched for evidence of Minho's crimes. They talked to servants who were willing to help. They found records, messages, proof of corruption, and they discovered something shocking. "Look at this," Taiho said one night, showing Yuna a document. "It is a payment record. Minho has been paying someone in the medical wing for years." Yuna looked at the document. "Dr. Sunho? He was my doctor when I was young. He diagnosed my condition." Taiho's eyes narrowed. "Why would Minho pay your doctor?" Unless they looked at each other as the truth became clear. "My condition," Yuna whispered. "What if it is not natural? What if someone caused it?" The next night, they snuck into the medical wing. It was dangerous, that they had to know the truth. Taiho picked the locks while Yuna kept watch. Inside Dr. Sunho's office, they found the evidence they needed. Hidden in a locked drawer were years of records. Records that showed the truth. "Poison," Taiho read from the documents. "When you were 5 years old, Dr. Sunho began putting a special poison in your food. A poison that slowly destroys the ability to have children. It was ordered by by Prince Minho and Princess Jiwoo. Yuna felt like the floor had disappeared beneath her feet. My brother and sister poisoned me? They made me this way? They were children themselves at the time, Taiho continued reading. But the order came from them. They were jealous of you. You were your mother's favorite before she died. They wanted to destroy you. Yuna sat down on the floor, unable to stand. Her entire life had been a lie. She had believed she was born broken. She had accepted years of shame and cruelty. But it was all planned. Her own siblings had turned her into what she was. Taiho knelt beside her and held her hands. I am sorry, Yuna. I am so sorry. All this time, Yuna said through tears, I hated myself. I thought I was worthless. But it was them. They did this to me. Taiho's face was hard with anger. They will pay for this. I promise you, they will pay. But before they could leave, the door opened. Dr. Sunho stood there with palace guards behind him. Well, the doctor said with an evil smile. I wondered when you would find out. Prince Minho will be very interested to know about this visit. The guards stepped forward to arrest them. Taiho prepared to fight, but there were too many. They were captured and thrown into a dark prison cell beneath the palace. This is my fault, Yuna cried in the darkness. I should have never agreed to investigate. Now we will both die. Taiho sat beside her. Even in the dark, even in chains, he stayed calm. We are not dead yet. And as long as we are alive, there is hope. How can you say that? We are prisoners. My brothers will kill us. Maybe, Taiho admitted. But they made a mistake. They showed us the truth. And truth is a powerful weapon. We just need to find a way to use it. Yuna looked at her husband. Even now, even in this terrible situation, he was thinking, planning, fighting. I do not understand you, she said softly. Any other man would have given up. Any other man would blame me. But you keep fighting. Why? Taiho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, because giving up is easy. Fighting is hard. And I have never been good at doing easy things. Despite everything, Yuna laughed. It was a small, broken laugh. But it was something. We will get out of this, Taiho promised. And when we do, your brothers will learn what happens when you push a human too far. They think we are weak? They think we are nothing? Let them think that. It will make their surprise even greater. Yuna leaned against her husband in the darkness. She was scared. She was hurt. But she was not alone anymore. And somehow, that made all the difference. The wedding was a grand event, but not in a good way. The nobles came dressed in their finest clothes, but they came to laugh. They came to watch the broken princess marry the worthless human. It was the most entertaining thing to happen in years. Yuna stood at the altar in a white dress. It was beautiful, but it was also old. Her father had given her a dress from storage, not a new one. Another insult. Another reminder of her place. Taiho stood beside her in his Earth uniform. He had refused to wear Velt clothing. I am human, he had said. I will not pretend to be something else. The ceremony was quick. The priest said the words, and suddenly they were married. The nobles clapped and laughed. Some threw food at them as a joke. But through it all, Taiho stood tall. And when people threw food at Yuna, he stepped in front of her to block it. His uniform got dirty, but he did not seem to care. After the ceremony, they were taken to their new home. It was a small house at the edge of the palace grounds, far from the main buildings, far from the royal family. This is where they put us, Yuna said quietly as they entered, like garbage thrown away. Taiho looked around the house. It was dusty and old, but it had walls and a roof. I have lived in worse places, he said. During the war on Earth, I slept in holes in the ground. This is a palace compared to that. Yuna looked at him with surprise. You were in a war? Many wars, Taiho said. Humans fight a lot. It is not something I am proud of, but it taught me many things. What things? Taiho started to clean the dust from a table. How to survive, how to never give up, and how to find strength when everyone says you have none. Yuna sat down on an old chair. She watched this human clean her house without complaint. He did not act like a prince or a noble. He acted like a servant, but he did it with dignity. Why did you volunteer for this? She asked again. You never answered me. Taiho stopped cleaning and looked at her. Because I read your file? My file? When? Earth's government told me about this arrangement. They gave me information about you. Your history. Your condition. He paused. And how your family treats you. Yuna felt her face grow hot. So you know everything. You know I am broken. No, Taiho said firmly. I know you have been told you are broken. There's a difference. Yuna did not understand. What do you mean? Taiho sat down across from her. On Earth, we have a saying. A flower does not think of competing with the flower next to it. It just blooms. You have been told your whole life that you are worthless because you cannot have children. But that is just one thing. One small thing. It does not define who you are. Tears formed in Yuna's eyes. But in our empire, it is everything. A princess must produce heirs. That is her only purpose. Then your empire is wrong, Taiho said simply. And wrong things can be changed. The first week of their marriage was strange. Yuna did not know how to act around Taiho. She expected him to treat her badly, like everyone else did. But he never did. He cooked food for her. Human food, which was strange but tasty. He cleaned the house and fixed broken things. He talked to her like she was a person, not a problem. One day, Yuna's brother Minho came to visit. He brought 3 guards with him. They stood outside the small house with cruel smiles on their faces. Sister, Minho called out loudly, come out and greet your brother properly. Yuna's heart filled with fear. She knew why Minho was here. He came to humiliate her more. He came to make sure she never forgot her place. She started to walk toward the door, but Taiho stopped her. Let me go first, he said. No, Yuna whispered. He will hurt you. Minho is dangerous. Taiho smiled. So am I. He walked outside and stood before Minho. The prince was twice his height and 3 times his weight. The guards behind him were even bigger. Human, Minho said with disgust. Where is my sister? I did not come to see you. Princess Yuna is resting, Taiho said calmly. If you wish to see her, you can make an appointment. Minho's eyes went wide with anger. Appointment? I am her brother. I am a prince of the Vel Empire. I do not make appointments. In this house, everyone makes appointments, Taiho replied. This is our home. You are a guest. Act like one. The guards stepped forward, ready to attack. But Minho raised his hand to stop them. He was curious now. No one had ever spoken to him like this. You are brave, human, Minho said. Or stupid? I cannot decide which. I have been called both, Taiho admitted. Usually by people who underestimated me. Minho laughed. Underestimated you? What could a human possibly do against a Vel warrior? I could break you with one hand. Perhaps, Taiho said. But you would be surprised what humans can do when pushed. We are small, yes. We are weak by your standards. But we do not give up. Ever. And that is something your people do not understand. Minho stared at Taiho for a long moment. Then he smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Very well, human. Keep your appointment system. But know this, I will be watching you. And when you make a mistake, I will be there to destroy you. He turned and walked away with his guards. When they were gone, Yuna ran outside. Are you crazy? She shouted at Taiho. You cannot talk to him like that. He will kill you. Taiho shrugged. He will try. Many have tried before. This is not a joke. Minho has killed people for smaller insults. Taiho looked at Yuna with serious eyes. I know, but I refuse to let anyone, prince or not, come into our home and disrespect you. You have had enough of that. It ends now. Yuna did not know what to say. No one had ever protected her before. No one had ever stood up for her. She had always been alone. Why? She asked, her voice breaking. Why do you care about me? I am nothing. I am less than nothing. Taiho took her hands gently. You are not nothing. You are my wife. And more than that, you are a person who deserves respect. I do not care what your family says. I do not care what your empire says. In my eyes, you have value, and I will spend every day proving it to you. Yuna cried that night, but for the first time, they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of something else. Something she had forgotten existed. Over the following weeks, Taiho continued to surprise Yuna. He was smart, smarter than any human was supposed to be. He learned the Vel language perfectly in just 2 weeks. He studied their history, their politics, their customs. Why do you study so much? Yuna asked him one day. Because knowledge is power, Taiho answered. Your family thinks I am stupid because I am human. Let them think that. While they laugh at me, I will learn everything about them. And one day, that knowledge will be useful. Yuna also discovered that Taiho was strong. Not strong like a Vel warrior, but strong in a different way. He exercised every morning, doing strange human exercises. Push-ups, sit-ups, running. Your body is so fragile, Yuna said as she watched him. Why do you work so hard on it? Because a fragile body can still hold a strong spirit, Taiho replied while doing push-ups. And a strong spirit can achieve anything. One day, a group of nobles came to mock them. They stood outside the house and threw insults like stones. Human lover, they shouted at Yuna. Broken princess, shame of the empire. Yuna started to cry and hide. But Taiho walked outside with a calm face. Thank you for visiting, he said to the nobles. Would you like to come inside for tea? The nobles were confused. They expected anger or tears, not politeness. We do not drink tea with humans, one noble spat. That is unfortunate, Taiho said. I make excellent tea. But if you prefer to stand outside and shout, please continue. I find it entertaining. The nobles did not know how to respond. They stood there for a moment, then left in confusion. They had come to cause pain. But Taiho had taken all their power away with simple kindness. That night, Yuna asked Taiho, how do you do it? How do you stay calm when people are so cruel? Taiho thought for a moment. On Earth, we have another saying. The tree that bends in the wind does not break. If I get angry at every insult, I will break. But if I stay flexible, if I stay calm, no one can touch me. But does it not hurt inside? Taiho nodded. Yes, it hurts. But I use that hurt as fuel. Every insult makes me more determined. Every laugh makes me work harder. One day, the people who laughed will see who I really am. And on that day, I will not need to say anything. My actions will speak for me. Yuna looked at her human husband with new eyes. She had been taught her whole life that humans were worthless. But this man, this small, fragile human, was stronger than anyone she had ever met. And slowly, day by day, his strength began to give her strength too. The grand hall of the Vel Empire was filled with hundreds of aliens. They stood in rows, their tall silver bodies shining under the bright lights. Their eyes were large and purple, and their skin looked like metal that had been polished for years. They were beautiful in a cold way. Like statues made of ice. At the front of the hall sat Emperor Dowan on his golden throne. He was old, His eyes were sharp like knives. Beside him stood his 3 sons and 2 daughters. They all looked proud and strong. But there was one member of the royal family who stood apart from the others. Princess Yuna stood alone near a pillar. She was smaller than her siblings. Her silver skin was slightly duller, and her purple eyes seemed sad. She kept her head down as the nobles whispered about her. "Look at her," said one noble to another. "The broken princess." "Such a waste," replied the other. "Born into the royal family but cannot give heirs. What use is she?" Yuna heard every word. She had heard such words her entire life. In the Vel Empire, having children was everything. A princess who could not have babies was considered useless, damaged, a mistake. Her own father had told her this many times. Today, Emperor Dowan had called everyone to the Grand Hall for a special announcement. Yuna did not know what it was about, but she had a bad feeling in her stomach. Her father never included her in anything unless it was to shame her. The emperor stood up, and the entire hall went silent. "My loyal subjects," he said in his deep voice. "Today I announce the marriage of my daughter, Princess Yuna." Gasps filled the room. Yuna's heart stopped. Marriage? Who would want to marry her? Her siblings started to smile. They knew something she did not. "As you all know," the emperor continued, "Princess Yuna cannot produce heirs. She is limited, but I have found a suitable match for her. Someone of equal standing." The nobles started to laugh quietly. Yuna felt her face grow hot with shame. "I present to you," the emperor said with a cruel smile, "her future husband, a human from the planet Earth." The doors at the back of the hall opened. Everyone turned to look. A single figure walked in. He was short compared to the Vel aliens. His skin was brown and soft, not silver and metallic. He had black hair and dark eyes. He wore a simple uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. His name was Taiho. The entire hall burst into laughter. Nobles pointed at him and made jokes. Humans were considered one of the lowest species in the galaxy. They were weak. They lived short lives. They had no special powers. "A human," shouted one noble. "The princess is marrying a human." "Perfect match," yelled another. "A broken princess for a broken species." Yuna wanted to disappear. This was her father's ultimate insult. He was telling the entire empire that she was worth less than a human, that she was so worthless she did not deserve a proper Vel husband. She looked at the human walking toward the throne. She expected him to look scared or ashamed. But Taiho walked with his back straight and his head held high. His face showed no fear. His eyes looked directly at the emperor. This surprised Yuna. Taiho stopped before the throne and gave a small bow. "Emperor Dawan," he said in a clear voice, "I am Taiho of Earth. I accept this arrangement." The emperor looked amused. "You accept? As if you had a choice, human. You should be grateful. You are being elevated above your station." "With respect, your majesty," Taiho replied calmly, "I do not see this as elevation or punishment. I see this as a duty, and I will fulfill it with honor." The hall went quiet for a moment. The nobles exchanged confused looks. They had expected the human to beg or cry, but he stood there like he was equal to them. Prince Minho, Yuna's eldest brother, stepped forward. He was tall and handsome, the pride of the empire. "Human," he said with disgust, "do you understand what you are? You are nothing. Your species eats dead animals and lives in dirt. And now you will marry our sister? This is a joke." Taiho looked at the prince. "I understand what I am," he said. "I am a soldier. I am a diplomat. And I am a man who keeps his word. What are you?" The hall gasped. No one spoke to a Vel prince like that. Minho's face turned dark with anger. He raised his hand to strike Taiho, but Taiho did not move. He did not even blink. "Enough," said the Emperor, waving his hand. He was smiling. He found this entertaining. "Save your anger, my son. The human will learn his place soon enough." Yuna watched all of this with wide eyes. She had never seen anyone stand up to her brother, not even other nobles. But this small human had done it without hesitation. Who was this man? The Emperor gestured to Yuna. "Come here, daughter. Meet your future husband." Yuna walked forward slowly. Every step felt heavy. She could feel hundreds of eyes watching her, judging her. When she reached Taiho, she finally looked at his face up close. He was not ugly, she realized. His features were different from Vel aliens, but there was something warm about them. His eyes were not cold like her family's eyes. They were kind. "Princess Yuna," Taiho said, bowing to her respectfully. "I am honored to meet you." Yuna did not know what to say. No one had ever spoken to her with such respect. Not even her own family. She started, but her voice was weak. "I am sorry. Sorry that you were forced into this." Taiho smiled softly. "No one forced me. I volunteered." Yuna stared at him. "What? Why would you volunteer for this?" Before Taiho could answer, the Emperor clapped his hands. "The wedding will be in 3 days. Let the preparations begin." The nobles cheered and laughed. They saw this as comedy, a show for their entertainment. The broken princes and the worthless human. What a perfect joke. But as Yuna looked at Taiho, she saw something in his eyes. Something that confused her. He did not look like a man who had been insulted. He looked like a man with a plan. Over the next 3 days, Yuna avoided everyone. She stayed in her room, crying and feeling sorry for herself. Her servants whispered about her behind her back. Her siblings visited only to make fun of her. "Enjoy your human husband," said her sister Jiwoo with a cruel smile. "Maybe he can teach you how to be as useless as his species." But on the night before the wedding, someone knocked on Yuna's door. When she opened it, she found Taiho standing there with a small box in his hands. "May I come in?" he asked politely. Yuna hesitated, then stepped aside. Taiho entered and looked around her room. It was smaller than the other royal rooms. The furniture was old. The walls had no decorations. "They treat you poorly," Taiho said. It was not a question. Yuna felt shame. "I am not valued here." Taiho turned to face her. "Then they are fools. And fools always learn their lessons the hard way." He handed her the small box. "A gift for my future wife." Yuna opened it slowly. Inside was a simple necklace with a small blue stone. It was nothing compared to Vel jewelry, but it was beautiful in its simplicity. "It is from Earth," Taiho explained. "We call it Hope Stone. We give it to people we believe in." Yuna looked up at him with tears in her eyes. "You do not know me. Why would you believe in me?" Taiho smiled. "Because everyone who has been underestimated knows how it feels. And everyone who has been underestimated has the power to surprise the world." For the first time in years, Yuna felt something warm in her chest. It was small and fragile, like a tiny flame, but it was there, and as she looked at this strange human, she wondered if maybe, just maybe, her life was about to change.